Hey, what's going on, guys? Today we're going to be going over my SummerSlam 2025 predictions. Now, before we get into it, you guys should know this is not the official match card predictions because half of those matches aren't even announced yet. So I'm predicting which matches will be on the SummerSlam 2025 card when it comes time to watch it. So without further ado, let's begin. Starting with the first match I have on the list. Aleister Black versus Damian Priest in a street fight, okay? They've been building Aleister Black and a Damian Priest feud for quite some time. We know Aleister Black is going to get a push on the main roster very soon, so I think the perfect way to start this push is by having him go against someone like a Damian Priest who has experience and who has upper card level. Damian Priest confronted Aleister Black on multiple SmackDowns at this point after Aleister Black attacked R-Truth, who, is obviously Damian Priest's guy. So I feel like Damian Priest and Aleister Black settling their beef that's, just slowly growing at this point in a street fight at SummerSlam, which, WWE wants to be a bigger event than WrestleMania, then that's the way to do it. So I believe Aleister Black versus Damian Priest in a street fight is going to go down. Next up on the list, we have Becky Lynch going in as Intercontinental Champion against Bayley for the Intercontinental Championship. I don't see Becky Lynch and Bayley, their feud, just burning out that quick. I feel like Lyra will take a step back from the IC Championship picture, potentially going into the main event scene at some point, but having Becky Lynch and Bayley go one-on-one at SummerSlam for the IC Championship will just, again, add to its legacy and add to the importance of the title. I know they went at it for the championship before, but that was with Valkyria interrupting and not having a clean winner. I feel like SummerSlam is a perfect place to end the Becky Lynch and Bayley rivalry because, again, it's just too soon to end it now at Evolution, so I feel like it'll leak into SummerSlam. And again, I do think Becky Lynch goes into SummerSlam as the IC champion, so I'm gonna go with Becky Lynch versus Bayley for the IC championship. Next up, we got a little bit of a curveball here. We got Sami Zayn, Penta, and the LA Knight taking on the team of Bronson Reed, Braun Breaker, and Ethan Page. Let's start with Sami Zayn, Penta, and LA Knight. I mean, Sami Zayn, Penta, and LA Knight all have beef with Seth Rollins' faction at the moment. We have Sami Zayn, who has beef with Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed, and Penta has beef with specifically Braun Breaker, and LA Knight, obviously, he has beef with all of the members and wants to get Seth Rollins at Saturday night's main event. So having these guys in a tag team match against Seth Rollins' faction, I feel like is the perfect way to go for SummerSlam. And I added Ethan Page as the third member for the faction due to the fact that I have Seth Rollins in another match later in the card. So having Ethan Page, who is a very good talker and who would be a very good addition to the team and would just add to the team's, just scariness. It would just be perfect, right? He's a great heel as well, right? So having him jump from NXT still as a heel, this would be the perfect way to do it, by having him join Seth Rollins and his crew. Next up, we got Jacob Fatu versus Solo Sikoa in a Bloodline Rules US Championship match. I'm a strong advocate for Solo Sikoa and his US Championship run. I feel like it's going to be nice, it's going to be special, and I feel like the perfect way to cap off the Jacob Fatu and Solo Sikoa rivalry is if they go ahead and go at it one-on-one at SummerSlam for the US Championship in a Bloodline Rules match, so we still get all of the Bloodline members involved in SummerSlam in some way, shape, or form. And I feel like Jacob Fatu will have the help of the Usos and potentially even Tama Tonga, and Solo Sikoa will bring out Tala Tonga, Tonga Loa, and JC Mateo, and have, each of those three guys fighting it out on the outside. This rivalry has been building and building. It didn't end at Night of Champions. It's going to continue until at least SummerSlam. I've said this before, and I'm sticking to it, so I see this happening, Bloodline Rules, or at the very least, they knock out the referee, and out comes the Bloodline members for Solo Sikoa, and out comes the Bloodline members for Jacob Fatu, and we get a SummerSlam 2.0, because if you guys remember last year, we had Solo Sikoa and Cody Rhodes with Roman Reigns helping Cody Rhodes, and all of that stuff. So that's what I'm going to go with for the US Championship. Next up, we got Julia versus Jordan Grace for the Women's US Championship. I feel that Julia is going to get a very, very big push on the main roster, and having her face Jordan Grace, who she's faced before in NXT, at SummerSlam would be the perfect way to to boost her momentum even more, because the main roster fans do know Jordynne Grace from the Royal Rumble and the fact that she was a TNA Women's Knockout Champion at some point. So I see a world where Jordynne Grace loses the match at Evolution 2 against JC Jane and goes right into the SmackDown mid-card to face Julia for the Women's US Championship. And again, Julia has no opponent whatsoever. The US mid-card women's scene is just horrible, horrendous. There's no opponents for Julia to face, so I feel like the only route at this point that WWE can go in is having Jordynne Grace or some other established star in NXT go over to the main roster and face her for the US Championship. Next up, we got Dominic Mysterio, who I believe is going to walk into SummerSlam as champion against AJ Styles, right? These two still haven't had their match yet, and I wouldn't be surprised if these two have their match at SummerSlam instead, with, you know, AJ Styles or wanting that match because Dominic Mysterio is obviously injured. I feel like once Dominic Mysterio is cleared, he's going to face AJ Styles for the IC Championship at SummerSlam, just like it was planned for Night of Champions. I could see Finn Balor potentially, you know, turning on Dominic Mysterio here, but I don't really back my own words, because Finn Balor just doesn't seem to pull the plug when he needs to on Dominic Mysterio. It's like Triple H is kind of scared to break up the Judgment Day, which I don't blame him, right? They have great merch sales, great storylines, a great heel faction, but like at the end of the day, Finn Balor at some point has to turn on Dominic Mysterio, or Dominic Mysterio has to turn on Finn Balor at some point. So I feel like this potentially happening during the AJ Styles match, which Finn Balor also has history with, is incredibly possible. Next up, we got the main event of night one. I feel like CM Punk versus Seth Rollins in a Hell in a Cell match. Okay, these two absolutely cook every time they're in a Hell in a Cell match, besides the Fiend versus Seth Rollins, which we don't talk about. But I feel like CM Punk and Seth Rollins, their rivalry is just boiling at this point. It's not done. I don't think it'll ever be done at this point. I feel like it's kind of like the Shield storyline, where it's never really done. Their stories get intertwined in some way, shape, or form. But yeah, I see CM Punk versus Seth Rollins once again in a cage match, just not a steel cage this time. It's a Hell in a Cell, to really bring their rivalry and really show that their rivalry is like, it's getting to that point, right? It's getting to hell itself. So yeah, that's what I see happening. I know a lot of people want CM Punk to be involved in the Cody Rhodes and John Cena match, but I feel like CM Punk, his main focus is Seth Rollins at this point. You know, I mean, Seth Rollins costed him so many matches. He costed him the Elimination Chamber. He costed him the John Cena match. So he's obviously pissed at Seth Rollins. I think he'd rather go after Seth Rollins than John Cena. That's why I'm going to go with CM Punk versus Seth Rollins in a Hell in a Cell. Next up, we have Alexa Bliss and Charlotte Flair, who I believe will be walking into SummerSlam as tag team champions against the Bella Twins, okay, for the Women's Tag Team Championships. I feel like Alexa Bliss and Charlotte Flair are a duo that you wouldn't expect to be as good, but they work really well together, and I believe that Alexa Bliss and Charlotte Flair will win gold once again and capture the Women's Tag Team Championships at Evolution 2. And I feel that, you know, there's a world where the Bella Twins, if Brie Bella can come to an agreement with WWE, that can, you know, they can face Alexa Bliss and Charlotte Flair for the Women's Tag Team Championships. And again, the Bella Twins just bring just another level, you know, they draw people to watch these matches, and having them at the SummerSlam card face off against Alexa Bliss and Charlotte Flair, who are arguably the top of the SmackDown Women's card, it's just greatness in the making. It really is, you know, greatness in the making. Next up, we got Rusev versus Sheamus in the Last Man Standing match. We had a banger 20-minute match on Raw, on free TV, with Rusev and Sheamus going at it one-on-one clean, with Rusev picking up the win. And I don't see why WWE would just ruin their momentum like this. I mean, the rivalry has been great so far. They had a great match, and I would expect WWE to at least consider the fact that Rusev and Sheamus deserve to be on the SummerSlam card, especially because of how well received their match was on Raw. So I believe this will happen, and I believe that this will happen in a Last Man Standing match. These two behemoths, they could go at it. They're beefy, so I feel like having them in a Last Man Standing match will really get the crowd on their feet and will be a nice addition to the SummerSlam match card. So that's what I'm going to go with, Rusev versus Sheamus in a Last Man Standing. Next up, I know this is a bit controversial, but this kind of piggybacks off my last video. I believe Goldberg walks in as World Heavyweight Champion in SummerSlam, and he faces Gunther for the World Heavyweight Championship. And this is where I believe Goldberg loses the World Heavyweight Championship. He loses it back to Gunther and makes Gunther the 3-time World Heavyweight Champion at this point. Because again, I just don't see Goldberg losing at Saturday night's main event. I feel like it's going to be a swerve. I feel like Goldberg does actually win the championship and becomes a heel for Gunther to face. Although to be fair, Gunther does work really well as a heel. I wouldn't be surprised if Goldberg walks in as a heel instead because of how much people are getting behind Gunther at this point. So again, yeah, I see Goldberg winning the championship, walking into SummerSlam as champion to face Gunther. So next up, we got Tiffany Stratton, who walks into WWE SummerSlam as champion, going against the Queen of the Ring, Jade Cargill. And this is mainly because Jade Cargill won the Queen of the Ring, so she chose Tiffany Stratton to face at SummerSlam. And I believe this will be for the obviously the WWE Women's Championship. And Jade Cargill has been getting a great push. She's deserving of this championship. And I actually believe that Naomi, who has a match with Jade Cargill at Evolution, cashes in on Tiffany Stratton or Jade Cargill and makes it a triple threat match. Or maybe even cashes in after one of the two win the championship and actually wins the championship from whoever she pins, because I believe this is the perfect place for Naomi to cash in her Money in the Bank briefcase against Jade Cargill and Tiffany Stratton. So I'm going to go with Tiffany Stratton versus Jade Cargill for the WWE Women's Championship, and Naomi cashes in. Next up, we got Io Sky, who walks into WWE SummerSlam as champion against Asuka, Rhea Ripley, and Stephanie Valkyrie for the WWE Women's World Championship. I was originally only going to put Io Sky and Asuka, but because of the fact that I really couldn't find room for Rhea Ripley or Stephanie Valkyrie on my SummerSlam card, I decided to add them into the WWE Women's World Championship picture, which again is totally possible because these are two main event level players that I just don't see missing SummerSlam whatsoever. So I could see them inserting themselves in some way, shape, or form into the WWE Women's World Championship picture yet again. And I feel like Asuka's a given because they've kind of been building that feud up a little bit. I could be totally wrong though. So this is what I have for the WWE Women's World Championship match, a Fatal 4-Way. Next up, we got rivalries that's been building for like a year at this point. We got Motor City Machine Guns versus Los Garza versus DIY versus Street Profits, who walk into the SummerSlam as champions, versus Fraxium versus Wyatt Six versus Andrade and Phoenix in a TLC WWE Tag Team Championship match. I feel like if it's SummerSlam or WrestleMania, you have to have a TLC Tag Team match in some way, shape, or form in it, besides from this year's WrestleMania. And I feel like this is the perfect way, right? They've been building this for a while now, and the fact that they had a banger TLC match last time they put the Tag Team Championships on the line in a TLC match, I think WWE want to capitalize on it and have another match just like this. And, Motor City Machine Guns, Los Garza, DIY, Street Profits, Fraxium, Wyatt Six, Andrade, and Phoenix are all viable tag teams that deserve a tag team championship. So I added Andrade and Phoenix because they've been a team that's been destroying on SmackDown. They haven't lost since they formed this said team. So I feel like they are getting their shine and glory, and this will lead to them getting added into a TLC WWE Tag Team Championship match. So Wyatt Six, they've been at the top of the tag team division over on SmackDown. Fraxium, they're the newcomers that are good at what they do and get a lot of wins. We got the Street Profits, who are literally the champions. We got DIY, who are a great heel tag team. We got Los Garza, which I believe, is kind of iffy. They might not be on the card. They might be on the card. I don't know yet. I think if WWE wants some AAA representation, that'd be a good idea if Los Garza was in this match in some way, shape, or form. And then obviously the veterans, Motor City Machine Guns. So that's what I got for that match. And finally, we got the main event of night 2. We have John Cena versus Cody Rhodes, and I believe that 3 more participants would be added into this match to make it a fatal 5-way. In Randy Orton, who wants some revenge on Cody Rhodes and probably John Cena as well. Ron Killings, who is absolutely still addicted to John Cena and wants more revenge on John Cena. And Drew McIntyre, who we see kind of set up or hint at him getting added to the match with him confronting Cody Rhodes and Randy Orton. So maybe if Drew McIntyre confronts Randy Orton and Randy Orton confronts Cody Rhodes and Drew McIntyre confronts Cody Rhodes, and then this whole thing just happens, I feel like it's very possible that John Cena versus Cody Rhodes is not going to be a one-on-one match for the WWE Championship. I don't think so at this point. Just for the fact that of how bad of a match they had last time, I feel like WWE would want to spice it up a little bit. And what better way to do it than to literally add Randy Orton, Ron Killings, and Drew McIntyre, who all are off my card up until this point. So that's my entire SummerSlam 2025 predictions. If you guys enjoyed, like, subscribe. I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.